One shot. $50,000. No trace left behind. He didn't introduce himself. He didn't need to. He just put the envelope down and waited. You looked at it for 3 seconds. Then you picked it up. $50,000 fixes a lot of problems when you're 24 and completely broken. This is what your life looked like before that envelope. You came home a hero. Turns out nobody needs a hero with no job and a PTSD diagnosis. The army trained you to kill people from 1,000 meters away, then handed you a handshake and a thank you note. And now someone finally decided that skill was worth paying for. You didn't sleep that night. You just stared at the ceiling and waited for morning. Morning came. The envelope was still on the floor. You picked it up. That was the second time you made the decision. The first time was when you didn't walk out of that bar. A rooftop. Cold wind. The man below never looked up. Your hands didn't shake. That scared you more than anything else that night. But you did it anyway. $50,000. And the feeling that something inside you just closed forever. You counted the money twice. Not because you didn't trust it, just because there was nothing else to do. New jacket. New face in the mirror. Same person underneath. For now, a parking garage at 2 in the morning. Fluorescent lights flickering above you. You waited behind that concrete pillar like you had done it 100 times before. You hadn't, but your body already knew how. The target walked right past you. Never saw a thing. That car door hanging open was the only thing left behind. You walked out and never looked back. Something shifted in your eyes after that one. You saw it in the mirror, a diner. 3 in the morning. He slid another photograph across the table. You didn't even pick it up right away. You already knew you were going to say yes. The photograph made it real. The money made it easy. You took the bus home, sat in the back, watched the city pass by the window, and realized you couldn't remember the last time you had a real conversation with anyone. 5-star hotel. First time in your life. The sheets smelled like money. You stood at the window and looked down at the city below. Never felt more alone in your life. The elevator, the corridor, the room, the job, the exit, cleaner than you expected. That was the part that stayed with you. The cash on the bed. You sat next to it and didn't touch it. You didn't know what you were waiting to feel. It never came. A penthouse now. Whiskey that costs more than your old monthly rent. A watch on your wrist that costs more than a car. You wore all of it like a costume. Inside, still that same soldier with empty hands. A private jet. Clouds below you. You tried to remember the last time you laughed. Nothing came up. New city. New language, new name in a new passport. You became a specialist. Accidents, heart attacks, people just disappearing. Clean, invisible, perfect. A restaurant on the waterfront. You sat alone and scanned every person who walked in. It wasn't caution anymore. It was just reflex. You stopped eating in places without a second exit. A concrete safe house. A bare bulb hanging from the ceiling. Maps on the table. You studied routes for hours. Not because you were afraid of making a mistake, just because there was nothing else left to do. You sat on the concrete floor and stared at the wall, hands resting on your knees, empty. A hospital corridor at 2 in the morning. You walked like you belonged there. You didn't. A cracked mirror in a small bathroom. You looked at your face and didn't recognize half of it. 3 passports, 3 names. Not one of them real. The phone rang. Unknown number. You knew it wasn't an offer, it was an order. You slept with a gun under your pillow. Woke up at every sound. One night you woke up to silence. That was worse. A surgeon's cold white room. New face. You stared at the ceiling while he worked and wondered who would be looking out from behind this one. A mountain road. Fog. You checked the rearview mirror more than you watched the road ahead. Nobody was there. You checked again anyway. The ocean at night from the deck of a yacht. $30 million in accounts you couldn't touch, because the moment you surfaced, they would find you. You built the perfect life. And it was a perfect prison, a cheap hotel room, a phone glowing on the desk. You knew who it was before you answered. You answered anyway. Another city, another job, another name checked off a list you never saw. You were the ghost now. No face, no history, No one who knew you existed, and that was exactly what made you valuable, and exactly what was going to get you killed. Lisbon. A bright cafe. Afternoon sun. Normal people having normal conversations. You sat in the corner like always. Back to the wall, eyes on the door, and then he walked in, 24 years old. Hungry eyes, dark jacket. You recognized him immediately, because you were him 28 years ago. He sat down across from you without being invited. You both knew why he was there. $3 million. That's what your head was worth now. You looked at him and saw every mistake you ever made sitting right across the table. 2 cups of coffee, neither one touched. The longest silence of your life. You stood up slowly, pushed the chair back, and walked out into the Lisbon sun. You didn't run. There was nowhere left to run to. He watched you leave through the window. You didn't look back. Patagonia. The end of the world. Gray sky pressing down on flat, empty land. A small farmhouse. A dog. $400 a month. 30 million sitting in accounts you will never touch again. You look 65, you're 52. You see their faces at night. All of them, but one more than the rest. A 19-year-old girl who had nothing to do with any of it. You tell yourself it was a long time ago. It doesn't help. You stand outside and look at the sky. There is nothing out there. No one looking for you. No one thinking about you. No one at all. The watch you used to wear sits on the table collecting dust. You walk across the field with the dog and don't think about the money. You sit on the floor with your back against the wall. Same position as that first apartment, except back then something was still open inside you. This is what $50,000 bought you. This is